I am a huge fan of Tekken. So huge, in fact, I actually know the lore damn near by heart. But here is a video talking about Paul Phoenix, Rise and Fall.
Talk about
Shout
Paul
out
Phoenix.
to Week 9. Let's go.
No, not you. Get out of here. Shoot. Sorry about that. The Paul Phoenix I actually want to talk about is this Paul Phoenix.
Yeah, Tekken.
You see, there are actually two Paul Phoenixes. There's
Before
Paul
the
Phoenix
then after.
and Paul Phoenix.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
That's a beauty.
Forget about that.
Allow me to explain. The Paul from Tekken 1 to Tekken 4 is strong, confident, hot-headed, he's admired worldwide, and he is the man who defeated Ogre. Paul from Tekken 5 to Tekken 8 is described as, and this is what is on the wiki, overconfident, muscle-brained, and slightly dim-witted.
Why did they do that to our boy?
It's just such a... Bleh.
Even
It's
6?
just
That sucks to hear.
It's just such a shame that the man once defeating gods is reduced to a comic relief character. To me, they had a perfect
To be fair, it is good comic relief.
opportunity to allow
It is
Paul to
good
regain
comic
some
relief.
respect in Tekken 8
But, yeah.
without impacting the story at all. I'll go over this scenario towards the end of the video. For now, let's discuss the rise and fall of Paul Phoenix. Let's go back to the beginning. Paul is one of 3 characters that has been featured in every single Tekken game. Want to know the other 2? Go watch
Uma.
this video. Shameless plug.
Uma, Paul Phoenix, and Yoshimitsu. Technically speaking, Law as well, but Forrest and Martial Law are father and son, so technically.
Okay, moving on. According to the Tekken 1 manual, it is stated that Paul previously fought Kazuya Mishima to a draw, and this is a feat in itself.
crazy.
While
Yeah,
this isn't
that's
prime
crazy.
Kazuya, we all know
No,
how
it's
much of a
not, but
beast
that's
he
crazy
is. Anyway,
still.
sticking to the lore of Tekken 1, Paul made it all the way to the semis,
Yep.
beating Kuma.
Yep.
Trust me, this is important.
It is
Once he
important.
beat Kuma, he faced Kazuya and lost. He never fought Heihachi, who also lost to Kazuya. Could Paul beat Heihachi in Tekken 1? Maybe, but we'll never
We don't
know for
know.
sure.
We don't know.
So, in
That's a good
Tekken 1,
question,
Paul is a top 3
That is
fighter.
a real good question, actually.
In Tekken 2, Paul is
Can Tekken 1 Paul beat Tekken 1 Heihachi? Damn, that's a good ass question. I wanna lean towards no, but
back to prove that he's the strongest, to get his rematch with Kazuya. At some point during the tournament, Paul faced Kuma and beat him again. This is important, trust me. And this is where the lore gets a bit funny, because the wiki says that he made it to the finals earning a rematch with Kazuya. But due to traffic caused by an accident, this is such a stupid lore reason, he had to forfeit his spot to Heihachi. I was always under the impression that Paul had to face Heihachi but missed that match, putting Heihachi through to the finals. So did he beat Heihachi previously? I'm unsure. But either way, Paul is still a top 3, if not a top 2 fighter, right alongside the Mishimas.
yeah, he is. Or was.
Tekken 3. Paul is back for the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3. His rematch with Kazuya will have to wait though, because Kazuya is unalive. As per the wiki and the Tekken 4 prelude to Paul, Paul went undefeated through the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3,
Which is
defeating
wild.
fighters including Kuma's son.
Which is wild.
Kuma.
Kuma Jr. Yeah, so it's crazy because I don't even know if we're going to still count Tekken 3 lore as just Tekken 3 lore, because they did create the Tekken Netflix series, right? And in that series, they brought in Leroy Smith. Even then, Paul actually fought with Ogre, with Jin, and Haorong, and Chao Yu, and Heihachi. So that didn't happen in the game, but in the show, I feel like that should be like the retcon, because this show is the latest. But y'all let me know.
Yes, that's his name. And Jin Kazuma, knocking them out of the tournament. He also went and defeated the big bad Ogre, a
Yeah, form number 1. So this green version of Ogre he beat, and then he left, and then True Ogre was born, and Jin showed up and beat True Ogre.
demon, alien, biological
He's
weapon.
an ancient god.
It's a bit up in the air what it
He's an
actually
ancient
is, but it's
god.
referred to as the God of Fighting. This God of Fighting killed the original king and beat Beck so bad he got put into a year-long coma.
That
So
Gusan
anyway,
is Haorong's
Paul
teacher.
beat that guy and
Really strong
said,
guy, too.
well, my job here is done, and he bounced.
And then he left.
And you
before
know
he
what?
went into his
Fair
true
enough.
form.
Because how was he even meant to know that Ogre would transform? He could have been standing there for an hour for all we know. So yeah, Paul left, and Ogre
Here, the
transformed into
Netflix-
True Ogre, its
the
final
Netflix,
form.
yeah.
Jin decides to re-enter himself into the tournament to face True Ogre because things are all personal
But
kit.
it's weird because
and
Paul was
defeated
also
True
involved
Ogre.
in this.
So basically, Jin
If I can
cheated Paul
remember
out of his
correctly. I
victory.
only saw it one time.
Irrespective of these events, Paul is arguably the strongest fighter at this stage. Because I'm pretty sure that Heihachi lost to
Yeah, honestly, he really is because even Jin during the Netflix, he went to Paul to ask, about Kazuya, and even Paul was like, "Yeah, he was really strong, but I'm stronger."
Ogre?
Whether that's true or
I don't
not,
know, but let's just say for the sake of this video that he did.
whatever.
Okay, so I'm going to make a quick detour to discuss Paul in Tekken Bloodline, which came out in August 2022. In summary, Bloodline is a Netflix adapted story of the events of Tekken 3. I'm actually unsure if Bloodline is canon or not.
I feel like
Some
it's a
sources
retcon.
say
It has to
is,
be.
others say it's just purely an adaptation.
It doesn't make sense for it to only be an adaptation though, because they changed part of the story. They changed the fights with Ogre, and they added Leroy to be in the canon. At the same time, Tekken 8 just came out, right? Tekken 8, Leroy goes against Jin Kazama, but Leroy doesn't say anything regarding a rematch. And that's what I was expecting. It was like Leroy Smith versus Jin Kazama. I'm like, okay, are they going to say now it's canon? All it was is Jin Kazama, you're not fighting hard enough. You're not really using your warrior spirit, blase, blase. And then Leroy opens up his heart to being an actual warrior. So, I don't know. I would love to say it's canon, but literally Tekken 8 would have been the time for them to say, oh, a rematch, right? Because it's literally a rematch in the Tekken tournament.
Paul definitely has a good showing in Bloodline. Others hold him in such a high regard, and he comes across as such a genuine, down-to-earth guy that holds a lot of confidence in his ability. You can't not like the guy. Of course, he beats Kuma in this universe as well, and he makes it all the way to the semis where he lost to King. There's a few matches here that don't make a lot of sense to me,
Xiao Yu versus
like
Nina.
Ling Xiaoyu beating Nina Williams.
Yeah, that's
that
crazy.
doesn't even work.
That is
Ling
crazy.
is smart.
No
Cool
way.
man, Nina is a literal
No
assassin.
way. Yeah, no way, man. Like, it's crazy to see that shit. I was like, bro, ain't no way.
Alright, moving
They
on.
really gave
Anyway,
our girl Nina an L, bro. And, like, what the fuck? Like, Nina was literally beating her the whole match.
Paul is about to face King. Heihachi says this to Jin, confirming Paul as a certified beast.
Had it not been for the power of the Devil Gene, Paul Phoenix would have defeated your father.
The Devil Gene is a cheat.
Plus 10 respect points to you, Paul. Nice job.
Even Heihachi said that.
So from here moving forward, I'm going to discuss the events leading on from Tekken 3 and not Bloodline. I think we can say that the event from Tekken 3 is canon.
And that would, that would make more sense to continue from Tekken 3 because, like we said earlier, like it's kind of ambiguous at best. Even though I personally would love for them to say it's canon because we got so much development with Jin, like so much, way more development than I would expect with Jin and Heihachi. It's like, why not make it canon?
Otherwise,
it makes the twist even better whenever Heihachi does pull out the gun, right?
the story's flow is all weird.
Better.
But then again, that's just Tekken in a nutshell. So we are talking as if Paul beat Ogre, bounced, and Jin took the credit. So, Tekken 4. Bad times for Paul. Very few people believed he went undefeated and was the one to initially beat Ogre. This causes his dojo to go out of business, causing Paul to be broke. One day, Paul comes across a newspaper flyer announcing the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. As stated in the Tekken 4 strategy guide, Paul, burning with the desire to win this tournament, decided to give it his all once again to prove that he was the one true champion. Once and for all, he had to win. Sounds like the perfect setting for a redemption. Yeah, well, you would be wrong.
He didn't.
Because Kuma defeats Paul.
Not Kuma.
Nani?
This apparently happens in the early stages of the tournament. Let me give Kuma some credit. He is trained by Hachi himself, and he did go spend time in his natural habitat to help rebuild the animal instincts he felt he lost due to being in the comfort of luxury, so that he could get his revenge on Paul. And he succeeded. Kuma is tough.
Kuma Jr.
I mean, he is
tough.
a bear, but he's not a top tier law fighter, at least in my opinion.
I mean, at this point, he is. I mean, he beat Paul Phoenix. That's literally a big feat. Even though you want to say Paul's down on his luck, he didn't train, yada yada. That's still Paul Phoenix, man.
Some people say
still
the
Paul
end of
Phoenix.
Tekken 3 was the beginning of the downfall, but the moment he lost to Kuma, that was the beginning of the end, in my opinion.
Paul! Hey, Paul! Paul!
Ain't my style.
So, before the King of Iron Fist Tournament 5, Paul reflected on his loss to Kuma and realized that he was defeated due to being overconfident, training from scratch to rediscover what he had lost. Judging from the images, he basically went to the forest, kicked some trees, and he was good again. Anyway, it must have paid off because, surprise, he got matched up against Kuma again. And while it was a tough battle, Paul takes the W.
I finally mopped the floor with your bare hide!
What do you mean finally? You've beaten Kuma every other time.
This is Kuma Jr. This is Kuma Jr., bro. Come on, Tekken 1 through 3.
Easy right in.
It's different.
So, looks like Paul is on the right track to getting back to the top, yeah? Well, you're wrong again, because Paul was a tired boy after his fight with Kuma, and he had to bounce from the tournament. And that's all I have to say for him in Tekken 5.
Harada. Damn. He said, I don't know what to do with anybody who's
Tekken 6 is peak sad for Paul, in my opinion. So at this point, Paul has a serious amount of debt. I'm unsure of how much exactly, so it has to be at least $10. Anyway, the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6 gets announced by Jin. Again, the lore here is a bit whack. It's suggested that Jin announced to King of Iron Fist Tournament 6 to lure Kazuya out. Either way, the tournament never finished due to World War III happening and Jin disappearing. Fair enough. So Paul decides to enter the tournament for prize money,
and he still got the money.
A plan. Instead of it being just him going for the prize money, what if he had a team? So he gets Martial Law and Steve Fox to enter to increase the odds of them getting the prize money. Short diversion, if you make it through the arcade mode in Tekken 6, you see that Paul and Marshall had some devious tricks to make it all the way to the finals. Laxatives, boarding up other contestants, and then they try to rig the finals. And it just sucks. Paul is all about proving he's the strongest.
They both died.
The Paul I know wouldn't resort to devious tricks. Also, why bother rigging the finals? Just have one of you win and share the prize money. Dumb ending. Anyway, that isn't even canon. The tournament got called off due to Jin going missing. So all we know is that Paul has debt.
Which is crazy because there's also several endings where Paul or Martial Law or Steve Fox, because they were all in cahoots, they win the prize money. But there's Law taking the money and running away. I believe Paul takes the money and runs away. Steve Fox takes the money and runs away. And then there's one where they all celebrate having the money and then they all die because G-Corp put explosives in the case. And then they all die. Yeah, there's multiple endings.
There's not too much to say about Paul in Tekken 7. A tournament got announced. He was going to enter for prize money. The tournament got cancelled due to Hachi being a dead boy. And Paul got sad. That's basically it. According to the official Tekken 7 website, it states that Kuma is the better fighter of the two.
Damn.
Let's just move on.
That's sad.
Paul fans worldwide were waiting, hopeful for the redemption arc that Paul deserved, and then his reveal trailer dropped.
Hey yo, what the?
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. I don't mind Paul's look in Tekken 8. I know people have been saying he has that "let me speak to the manager" haircut. I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, I ain't never heard nobody say no shit like that.
Perfect, but it's not horrible. Give it a solid 6 out of 10. So, story-wise, he defeats Law to earn his spot in the tournament, representing North America Block A. He states that he's keen to give Kazuya a good smack in the face, so potential rematch on the cards. The tournament gets cut early due to Kazuya releasing that Azazel guy, and Paul joins Team Jin to help against Kazuya's tyranny. Tyranny? To help against Kazuya's tyranny. As Paul helps on the battlefield, his friend Marshall jumps in to combat him. It's revealed that Marshall has joined G-Corp, I assume for money.
Which is weird. It's like, he didn't really even have to join G-Corp because his reasoning is like, oh, you're because you take all the money, like you didn't win the fight. And it's like, bro, a demon came from the sky. Like the tournament got called off, and it's not even the first time the tournament's been called off before. Like,
what a surprise.
Come on, bro.
It's revealed that they had a pact to share the prize money, but Paul has already gone and spent the earnings.
How?
So I gotta say, that is the quickest payout ever.
How? That's what I'm saying. Like, how? Like, this says that means Paul Phoenix won Tekken tournament, but how? Azazel destroyed everything. You telling me they continued the tournament? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And even if he did, how did he spend all the money that quickly? And even if he did spend all the money that quickly, why is he helping them trying to take down Kazuya? Bro, how you gonna take down Kazuya and spend $10 million at the same time? It's crazy.
Considering the circumstances. And what the hell did Paul spend it on
That's
already?
What I'm saying.
He did say there was none left, so he obviously
There's none left.
something.
Like, bro, what?
Dog move, Paul. After
Probably
Paul
bought some
defeats
Bitcoin.
Law, we get this heartfelt scene
And
where
then Kuma
Kuma
shows
jumps
up.
in to battle Paul.
Yeah,
and
but
accidentally
Kuma
saves Paul's
him.
life by taking a missile to the back. Paul misunderstands the situation, thinking Kuma saved his life on purpose, and I think this happy accident has squashed the beef between Paul and Kuma. Because in the ending credits, we see this photo of Paul and Kuma standing together.
Oh boy.
Sorta. And that's a wrap on his
They're
current
picketing.
war status.
I have no idea what they're
He
picketing
still has to
for. I
prove
haven't
he's the
played that
strongest
part.
in the
I
universe
should play that.
and to pay off his debt.
The arcade. I
think.
play the arcade.
Maybe that's what he spent the money on. I don't know. So as I said earlier in the video, I feel as though they had a perfect opportunity for Paul to regain some respect in Tekken 8 without impacting the story at all. Here's what I would...
I think they actually did a decent job when it comes down to the side characters. Was it amazing for the side characters? Absolutely not. But they really did some stuff for the B and C tier characters besides Zafina, who got fucking one shot, and Claudio, who died for no reason. You know, it's shitty, yes, but Tekken 9 is basically either Tekken 9 or Tekken X Street Fighter. I feel like they're gonna put a lot of love to the tertiary and secondary characters because Jin's storyline's done, Kazuya's storyline is basically done. Reina's in the driver's seat when it comes to Mishima, Blood Feud, whatever. And Reina she's strong, but she hasn't mastered her devil gene, so we'll see what happens next.
have done. Okay, so Kazuya has
R.I.P.
arrived at the Kazuma Sanctum, where Jin is regaining his powers. As Kazuya walks up, he is confronted by... not you. Paul! We never settled our score. You? Don't make me laugh. Get out of my way and I won't humiliate you. What?
Honestly, I would prefer that than Lars getting his ass whooped. I would rather Paul get his ass whooped because then at least it's like canonical, right? Why is Lars getting beat down? They should give Lars a power up by Tekken 9 or whatever.
What am I doing?
Street Fighter,
Oh,
Tekken
sorry.
Street Fighter,
Stay in
whatever.
character. Humiliate? Haven't you heard? I'm the strongest in the universe. This delusion of yours will be your downfall. Paul thinks to himself, I don't need to win. I just need to hold him off long enough to buy Jin as much time as possible.
But the thing is, I mean, Paul didn't even know. He went to go fight in the battle, so what do we do with the battlefield? Like, we need more people there.
It's an intense battle, with Paul at one point knocking Kaz back with his Phoenix Smasher. You are truly one of the strongest, but enough is enough. It's at this moment that Kaz hits Paul with a huge amount of devil power, knocking Paul down.
And then you could have Lars step in and like deflect the attack or something, and then Paul and Lars do a Tekken Tag Tournament 2 style, and they both lose, and then Jin shows up and saves the day.
As Paul struggles back to his feet,
Boom.
ready to go
Just like
again.
that.
Lars jumps in to help hold off Kazuya.
What did I say?
And immediately to the
What did I just say?
This is just a quick version.
This is great.
And I think this would have been a
This is
perfect
great.
way to revive that rivalry. Fuck.
Rivalry.
I think this would have been a
Yeah.
perfect way to revive that rivalry
It
between
wouldn't have been perfect, but it would have been decent enough.
Paul and Kaz, and giving Paul some respect back, which I think he definitely deserves. Maybe in a different timeline. And that's it. Paul has a lot of feats that puts him in the upper tier of fighters.
Yes.
Basically alongside the Mishimas, but unfortunately he keeps getting shafted into comedic relief situations. I definitely think there can be a balance of both, but hey, maybe Tekken 9 will actually make Paul the strongest in the universe. Until then, enjoy your day.
I was wondering why it looked so blurry the whole time. I didn't have it in 4K. My bad, bro. I made your footage look terrible. Okay, well, never mind. The video's not working in 4K.
Circumstances.
Okay,
And what the hell did Paul situations? I definitely think there can be a balance
That's
of
still kind of
both.
fuzzy. Anyways, this is a great video. I was watching your Azazel video. I just didn't finish it. I was like, man, there's a lot of jokes in here. I thought this was going to be legit. But this one was way better. So maybe I'll watch the Azazel video later. But yeah, link in the description. Check out Weeknight if you're into Tekken. I'll see you guys on the next one.